Hello everyone. In this video, we will learn about the figure of speech. Authors often use figures of speech in both literature and poetry to enhance their writing, to embellish their writing, to beautify their writing. It changes the ordinary things into new or unusual ways. They are plainly defined as saying one thing in terms of something else. It helps in conveying the idea much quicker, effectively, and vividly. Whenever you say something but you don't mean it literally, you are using a figure of speech. Like if you head out to a store and your mother says, "You better take a jacket, it is raining cats and dogs out there." Does your mom literally means animals are falling from the sky? No, she is just embellishing the language. Let's start with the first figure of speech. Figure of speech or poetic devices is one of the same thing. Let's start with the first, the most important is simile. Simile, when we just try to compare two unlike things using like or as, then there is simile. We are just comparing, just mind it, we are comparing two unlike things like or as. Like for example, we bear her along like a pearl on a string. We are just comparing the two unlike things. We here as bride. We are comparing the bride with the pearls. Bride and pearl. There is nothing similar in them. But we are just talking about the softness of carrying the bride. Like the pearl is carried softly in the string. And similarly, bride is carried softly. How softly she is carried. We are just comparing two unlike things. But just mind it, we are using the word like here in the sentence. Let's take some more examples of simile. She sways like a flower. How can she sway like a flower? How a human being can sway like a flower? We are just comparing two things. We are just making that how beautiful she is looking, how beautiful the flower is, and similarly she is also swaying beautiful, looking beautiful because of her movement. She skims like a bird. She hangs like a star. How can one hang like a star? But we are just comparing the two unlike things. She falls like a tear. His temper was as explosive as a volcano. Means in all the sentences, one thing is common. That is, we have used like or as. Means it is the foremost necessity. Foremost necessity to have simile in a sentence is the presence of like or as. Let's move to the second figure of speech, that is a metaphor. Metaphor, the literal meaning of the word denoting a thing, quality or action is applied to another in the form of showing identity instead of comparison. Means we are just comparing the two things. But there is one important difference with the metaphor and simile. Both are similar in their definition, but there is one difference. Let's talk about simile first. Two unlike things are being compared, and in case of simile, we just compare two unlike things, and the word like or as are used to make the comparison. Similarly, in the metaphor, an implied comparison between two unlike things that actually have something important in common. We are just comparing, again we are comparing the two unlike things as we were doing in the simile, but there is something common in them. The boy was a fish in the water. The boy and the fish, they both are compared. The boy was like a fish in the water because the boy was there in the water. As the fish lives in the water, the boy too was enjoying there in the water. The boy was like a fish in the water. We just derive like after just doing its meaning. Let's strike the difference between the metaphor and simile. Simile. Mike is like a teddy bear. Mike is as soft as a teddy bear. In both the sentences, we have used like or as. In case of metaphor, Mike is a teddy bear. We are saying Mike is like a teddy bear. On just deriving its meaning, we are using like. But in simile, we are already in the sentence, we already have like or as. Another example, that boy is like a pig. That boy is as messy as a pig. But if we have to just write it using metaphor, that boy is a pig, means the message which we want to convey in the both sentences is same. But in case of simile, we are directly using like or as, but in metaphor we are not using like or as, but on deriving its meaning we find like or as. Okay, one important thing that you must keep in mind, that every simile can be comprised into metaphor and every metaphor can be expanded into a simile. Okay, let's take an example. Akash fought like a lion. Because there is like, then there is, it is understood that there is simile. And we can say it in another way also. Akash was a lion in the fight. Here is metaphor. Why? Because we are not using like here in the sentence. Akash is not a lion. Akash was a lion in the fight. How Akash can be a lion? Akash is a human being, but he just fought. He fought in the war like a lion. Next figure of speech, alliteration. Let's take the examples first in order to understand it. Brad wore his blue and brown blazer. She springs like a beam on the brow of the tide. Gaily, oh gaily, we glide and we sing. 6 swans went swimming in the sea. What is the similarity in all the sentences? Yes, there is one. In the first sentence, Brad wore his blue and brown blazer. There is a B, B and B. These consonant words, these consonant sounds are repeated again and again. B, blue, brown, B, blazer, B. In the second sentence, she springs like a beam on the brow of the tide. Beam, B, beam, brow, B. Gaily, oh gaily, this G, and we glide, G. Again this G sound is repeated. 6 swans went swimming in the sea. S, 6 for S. Swans, S. Swimming, S, C, S. In all the four all the four words, we have repetition of S sound. Okay, means there is a repetition of consonant sound, or there can be repetition of the consonant sound, or can be the sound of vowels. One more thing that I want to make clear here is, there is one more figure of speech, that is repetition. In the alliteration, there is a repetition of only of sound of the particular consonant or vowel. But in case of repetition, whole of the word is repeated. A word in the sentence is repeated again in the sentence. Like gaily, oh gaily, we glide and we sing. This gaily word has been repeated in the sentence, means there is repetition also. In case of repetition, there will always be alliteration, but in case of alliteration, it is not necessary to have the repetition in the sentence. Okay, now we have derived alliteration is the repetition of the beginning consonant sounds. As in case of the last sentence, we notice the repetition of S sound, and not every word in the sentence has to begin with the same letter. It is not compulsory. Even if it has 2 words starting with the same letter, then too it is okay. Then it will be considered as alliteration. Now let's move to the next, hyperbole. Means when we exaggerate the things. When the things are not in the defined limits. Like let's take the example, my backpack weighs a ton. How can a backpack weighs a ton? How can a person carries 1 ton of weight? It's not possible. We are exaggerating the things. A ton of the weight cannot be taken by anyone. Some more examples. You could have knocked me over with a feather. How can one be knocked at with a feather? No, it's not possible. I have told you 1,000,000 times. How can one tell a person 1,000,000 times the same thing? It's not possible. Means we are just exaggerating the things. Okay, hyperbole is a major exaggeration or overstatement. Author uses this figure of speech to emphasize a point or add humor in the example. I nearly died laughing. How can one die while laughing? If one is laughing, then there is no reason of death. The next figure of speech is onomatopoeia. Just look at these. We can see a bee and we can see a phone. B. In the front of B, what is written is buzz. This is the sound made by B. Everyone knows. The phone is also lying there. Phone. What is the sound made by? Ring. Okay. These two are the examples of onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. The use of in onomatopoeia, we use the sounds for creating artistic effect. It can also be described as the use of a word which imitates a sound. Other examples, screech, where any other sound which is taken by a particular thing or by is the identity of any animal or anything or any equipment or any instrument, then that will be considered in the onomatopoeia. Next is the personification. Personification means when we just give human traits to the inanimate things, to the animals, to the objects, or to the non-living things. Means when the inanimate things like the animals, rivers, clouds, they just start to speak, they just start to tell something about themselves, they just start to tell the story, their own story, then there is personification. When a writer uses personification, he or she gives characteristics of a person to an animal, object, or thing. The willow tree shook her long hair. Willow tree. In this willow tree means we are talking about a tree. How can a tree have long hair? It's not possible. Means here we are just considering this willow tree as a female. And this female, everybody knows the females have long hair. And these willow tree, the branches of the willow trees are considered as they are just swaying like the hair of the women. Therefore we are just given the feministic characteristics to a tree, and we have made willow tree a human being. Therefore there is personification in this. Some more examples. The car danced across the icy road. How can car dance? It's not possible. Only human beings can dance. So therefore we are just giving the car the human characteristics. The angry clouds marched across the sky. How the clouds can be angry? Only human beings or can be animals can be angry, but not the clouds. We are just considering them as animate things. The stars in the clear sky, night sky, winked at me. How the stars can wink? They just twinkle. Winking is done by the human beings or the animals. Means we are just considering them the animate objects. The tulips nodded their heads in the breeze. Tulips don't have their heads. How can they nod? How can they move their head in the breeze? Means we have just made them to speak. We have personified them. We have made them like the human beings. Imagery. When we just start to feel the things, when the things just come naturally to our mind, creation of the mental picture while reading something, that is the imagery. When the poet just starts to just tell you about the garden, about the beautiful flowers, we just start to feel like them as we are in the garden. We are just feeling the colors of the flowers, the breeze blowing there. Everything is felt by us. A mental image is formed in our minds. Then there is imagery. Example, the bear the bride along like a pearl on a string. We just start to imagine about the bride, how innocent, how beautiful, how soft she was. Irony. This is the figure of speech. And thus, when there is incongruity between what a speaker says and what he or she means or what is generally understood, then there is irony. Irony is mode of speech in which the real meaning is exactly the opposite of that which is literally conveyed. Whatever we say is not the thing which we want to say, but it is the opposite of. Means we want to just convey the opposite of that. Like for example, for Brutus is an honorable man. So are they all honorable men? Here, Antony is saying Brutus is an honorable man. If Brutus is an honorable man, then we all are honorable men. Means he wants to say that Brutus is not an honorable man. And the last figure of speech is metonymy. In metonymy, literally a change of name means we just use something else, an object we use which is generally associated with, we just make out for what purpose it has been used. Like if we have to use the word king in the sentence, we can use the crown. If we use the word crown, then it is understood that we are talking about the king. Okay students, I hope you must have understood the figure of speech. If you have any problem or any query, you can write in the comment box. Thank you.